Ray Skywalker. I like that line a lot.
I'll say that I don't think Star Wars has to be about redemption. It's like what we think it is because that's the story we've been told for those first 6 movies, but it doesn't have to be that.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rogue 3 podcast, where we discuss everything Star Wars with a positive outlook on the saga we love. I'm Austin.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Austin.
And this week we are going to continue our track down the world of hot takes. We're going to add some more hot takes to the world. Don't you love it?
That's what the world needs.
That's what the world needs.
More Star Wars hot
takes.
More Star Wars hot takes.
And we're going to heal the world one hot take at a time. I'm just glad that we can do this for the world. While all the suffering is going on, we can bring hot takes about Star Wars.
Yeah.
So we are going to be talking about the sequels this week. I do want to start this off by saying that we are a sequel positive podcast. We don't always have things that we love about them. Sometimes we have critiques, but if we do so, we always do it in a positive way. You can be a nice person and critique something appropriately instead of just shitting all over it. We will not shit all over it. So we do have some thoughts about the sequels that we're going to share with you all. We each have a hot take we're going to share. Before we jump into that, we are going to give you a little bit about what we've been doing this week in Star Wars. Mike, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so last episode you had mentioned that you were reading through Low Red Moon, and it took me a little bit extra time to get it, but I've been reading through it. And so I'm maybe 1/3 of the way through right now or so. I'm going to hopefully finish it later this week. It took me a little bit of doing other stuff to get into it. But I've been enjoying it. It makes me want to play the game again. I have only played it one time. It's a long game.
It is a long
because
game.
It's so like open world. And I'm still like in a playthrough of Jedi Survivor, and I should finish that before I go back to how it was. But it makes me want to play the game again and kind of go through the situation with the ND5 and all of that, because it's I like how it's getting into their relationship a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's about it for me. I've started watching some stuff. I did watch Force Awakens and Last Jedi because I listened to the audiobooks for those on my way to work. And so I watched those again, and it was nice to like catch little characters in the background, stuff with the visual dictionaries, things I talked about a few episodes ago. So that's been nice as well. But I'm getting ready to jump back on the watching the TV in the morning bandwagon to go back through stuff.
Well, in relation to that, I have been very slowly making my way through Rebels again.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched Rebels all the way through twice, I think. But it's been several years since I watched it last, and it's been really fun. I'm still only in season 1 right now, but to my memory, I remember Rebel season 1 having a lot of filler in it. But really, it's been pretty. I wouldn't say it's like a tight story, but it's definitely a lot more linked together than I remembered it being. Like there's more arc and throughput throughout the episodes than there was to my memory. So it's been a nice surprise.
I think a lot of those early filler episodes I always try and think of as character development episodes.
Yeah.
Like their relationships are growing, they're getting to know each other, and we're getting to know them because we don't really know them and their stories and how they react to things that much.
Because you don't always need a galaxy-wide cataclysm to make a good story.
Sometimes you just need Jogan fruit.
Also, why you should have multiple seasons of shows is to build those characters and actually give them time instead of just canceling after one season.
Crackling. Excuse me, my God.
Or you can do like Resistance, where they thought they were going to have more seasons, and then halfway through the second season, you can tell like, oh, we got to wrap this up really quick.
Yep. Yeah, that too.
I've been doing a bit of Star Wars stuff. I have been packing up my Star Wars shelves. I am about to move to Atlanta. So I've been packing up all my beautiful little lightsabers. Very sad, but I have to get them out of the house so no one steals it while it's on the market. Austin and I have also been doing a lot of unboxings lately. We've been really into the Star Wars Unlimited cards.
Mm.
So we've been unboxing those. And then we've also been unboxing these new little cutie cuffs.
Mm.
Don't particularly care about them at all. I want the Queen Amidala Chaser. Probably not going to get it. So we have a Tauntaun here. And then Austin has a Porg over there.
A Porg
I
that has like
honestly-
a turkey tail on it. So I'm
I
trying to
like the
understand.
Porg. I could tell that was a Porg. I was like, is that an Ugnaught? What is its nose?
It is not, although it's a
I see with the horns that helps, but like
it's
it
a
looks
little Tauntaun.
piggy.
a
Yeah, it
Tauntaun.
looks like a little pig on its nose.
I think you're supposed to put them on your wrist like this, like a slap bracelet. If
Okay,
you're on
yeah.
the video, you can see. I've been putting them on my steering wheel.
Oh.
So I'm sure someone will pull me over for that, but what a win.
Yeah, I've got the Loftcast, the other one I've opened. It's on my steering wheel right now. I haven't decided if I'm going to leave him or if I'm going to swap him out for the Porg. But
You cannot have more than one slap bracelet
No.
on your steering wheel at a time. It's too much. One is already a
The
lot,
weight
to be
will
honest.
throw
Yeah,
you
what-
off.
yeah,
It does. Okay, so it hits me when I'm trying to turn. The thing hits me and then just slides across the steering wheel. So I moved it to my gear shift, but I'm not sure that's entirely safe. So we're gonna have to reevaluate where this is. But
Yeah.
for now, it's fun. We've been doing a
Yeah,
lot of
the-
unboxings, so we like the mystery unboxing for some reason.
Nice.
do.
Yeah, you never know what you'll get.
Exactly. So I love introducing gambling to young children. Why not?
Yes.
As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about some hot takes. So hot takes about the sequels. Mike, would you like to share your hot take first?
Yeah, as we've alluded to, there's no shortage of hot takes about the sequels. But I wanted to I'm like, there are things that I can point to in the sequels. I can point to in any of the Star Wars movies where I was like, okay, I don't like that. And I'm probably in the minority of this specific thing. But for the sequels specifically, I wanted to think about something that I think I'm in the minority, but I think it's a positive. It's something that I like that I think most people don't agree with. And it is that I think that Finn's character development is the best of all of the sequel characters. He has better character development throughout all three of those movies than any other character. And especially when you look at Canto Bight. Because I think that sequence is looked at and derided so much as like one of the most disliked parts of what I think is the most divisive sequel movie. But I think it is so important because when we leave Finn at the end of episode 7, or really when we see him near the end, he's just there to get Rey out. And he says that point blank. That is what is set up for Rian Johnson in episode 8, is that Finn was there just to get Rey, and he does not care about everything else. He's like, it's just going to work out, but I'm here for Rey. He's not a resistance soldier, right? He's not there for their cause. He was there to get out. And then when we get to 8, he's trying to escape and trying to just help Rey. That's his goal. But because of what happens with Rose on Canto Bight, that he sees that, this, what he thinks is amazing and beautiful and cool, is under the surface not. That there's deep corruption and issues going on. He grows substantially after that to realize, no, this is worth fighting for. I need to be here because what these people are doing is really important for everything else. And that leads into 9, when then he is now a leader of the resistance, that he is leading other people into battle, that he is firmly in it. And those steps of, he leaves the First Order because he just wants to get out. He wants to protect himself. He meets Rey and just wants to save her as an individual, to realizing that there is much more going on in the galaxy that I should take a stance on, to leading others. Like, that character development for me, I think is amazing. And I think he does, like John Boyega does such a good job with it. Yeah, maybe he says Rey a few too many times and should have had a little bit more in 9 about being a leader, or he should have been called general, right? We see Han Solo become a general, and Han Solo's a scoundrel. We should have seen a little bit more of that, but I like where from the beginning to the end, I think he is the best developed character, and I think he's the most interestingly developed character through all of the sequels, and perhaps almost all of the movies.
And fingers crossed we get to see more development from him soon.
Yeah.
So Finn is my favorite of the like hero trio in the sequel trilogy. I love Finn. I will say I don't disagree with what you say or saying inherently. I think he does have like a clear arc. I think it's a little muddled in 9 with introducing the force sensitivity and it not going anywhere. And then like the stuff with Jana, like it doesn't really ever manifest in that movie. And it feels like there was deleted scenes, but I know there weren't a lot of deleted scenes in that movie. So it's just very, that movie had some production troubles. And that's not a hot take. That's I think everybody
Well
involved would
known.
believe that. Yeah. I think the issue with like Finn's character arc for me is I think what the path Ryan Johnson took with him in 8 is fine. Like I don't think that was an invalid take. Like I think that's a perfectly natural conclusion to draw like for where his character would go. But I also think had Finn woken up from that coma and was like gung ho about the resistance, I don't think anybody would have really questioned that. Like I think because we've seen he wakes up from a coma and doesn't care about the resistance and just wants Rey. I think that's what we know and love. I think had it been the other way, nobody would have questioned like that.
That's a good
turn.
Right. Han Solo does that, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's Han Solo is, he's just there and he saves his friend. All great. But then he's still there with them, years later.
Yeah. 3 years later.
I see that. Yeah.
And I think this is not a disagreement with what you said, but I think like the ultimate thing with Finn is why was there no stormtrooper rebellion? Why did that never come into play? Like him being a stormtrooper really did not matter after episode 7. Like it kind of came into play in 8 with Phasma, like that scene with like Phasma and the stormtroopers and stuff. But like beyond, like I don't really think it came into play in 9. Beyond like his interaction with Jana, like it doesn't really it informs like how he interacts with a couple of characters, but doesn't really inform like who he is at his core. And I think that's there's a real missed opportunity for his arc.
Yeah, and it feels like 9 should have been that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like 8, okay, you see him go through. There is a good deleted scene of him in the elevator in the captain's uniform with a stormtrooper played by Tom Hardy. Which is like FN 2187. Like, I never picked you for captain. Like, wow. Like, and like I like that. Like he knows the protocol and stuff, so he's using that to get by and things like that. And there's a lot more in the book. Like I said, I was just reading that plays into like he knows how to walk and how to do these things, and he's good at infiltrating them because of that. We don't get to see in 8. But then like 9, it feels like he's set up to do something like you're talking about, and it doesn't happen. But I still appreciate that he's still leading troops into battle. Like he's leading the charge now.
Well, and the weird thing with 9 too is that the creation of the Sith troopers is like the perfect tee up to let the stormtroopers rebel against somebody, to let the stormtroopers like have an army to fight. Because I feel like the whole thing is like if you get the stormtroopers to like rebel, then the battle's over.
First Order falls
but like
apart.
That still gives you something for them to shoot at, having like the Sith troopers. But
I see that.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Finn's arc, but I do appreciate what you're saying about episode 9. I think I think episode 9, I agree he could have had more to do. But I still feel like, and maybe it's being colored by reading the Final Order or the Last Order, a
Mhm.
little bit,
Mm-hmm.
where it felt very, that book felt very troopery. He had a lot of
Yeah.
troopery things to do in that book.
Mm-hmm.
And so that might be coloring it, but I was satisfied with the amount of troopery stuff in episode 9. Not a lot of interesting thoughts, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
JJ would be happy.
Yeah, and like Finn's probably the character that I'm most intrigued by, like what because of those arcs that he's gone through, like what's next for that character.
Yeah.
Like Rey, we kind of know, okay, she's a Jedi and she's going to go on this path to, in some form rebuild the Jedi. Like Kylo Ren, Ben Solo's dead. Maybe he'll come back in the hunt for Ben Solo. Probably not going to happen. But Finn's story, I'm like, where are we gonna go with that? Where could we go with
Yeah.
that? And that's, to me, is the most intriguing of any of those characters because of the arc that he was put on for those
Yep.
movies.
Okay, so my hot take comes from The Last Jedi, famously beloved film. No hot takes about that film. But mine is that I think killing Snoke was the right decision for The Last Jedi. I do not think it was the right decision for the trilogy as a whole. I think you could like extrapolate that and make that like an overarching thing of like each movie was only thinking about them as a movie and not how they interact with the movies around them. But but the reason why I picked on the Snoke thing in particular, I think that killing Snoke, first of all, that scene is just like flawless. Like the whole way the Kylo and Snoke are talking and Kylo uses the Force to cut Snoke in half. That's just like was so cool.
Beautiful scene.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was good for Kylo to rebel like that and show that like the First Order didn't have that hold on him, and that he and Rey could take it all on. Um, and it led to like a really incredible fight scene and the conflict between him and Rey of like Rey choosing not to go with him. Um, the classic Star Wars bad guy asking good guy to become bad guy. Just you have to have it. Um, I think that killing Snoke was great for that. I think it left us in a weird place for 9 where you they don't want Kylo to be the big bad because Star Wars is about redemption and you have to let Kylo be redeemed. And Kylo, like being the bloodthirsty leader of the First Order, it makes it really hard to redeem him when there's not somebody above him calling the shots. And then that necessitates that character being brought in, and with Snoke off the table, that only leaves Palpatine to be brought back from the dead, or you create a new Snoke, and that's even worse. So now we bring back Palpatine, and so it kind of calls into question all of this of like, well, then what was it all for? Like why did we go through the whole trouble of the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War and Vader sacrificing himself to kill Palpatine if Palpatine was just going to be back again, this time with cooler robe. Like,
It is a cool robe.
Is this cool? It's a cool robe, but and so I think that killing Snoke, um, Ryan Johnson was making The Last Jedi the best movie he could make it. I don't think it made the trilogy stronger.
It's so funny because one of my favorite parts of episode 9 is the Palpatine. From a story standpoint, I completely agree with you. I think it's kind of a weak move when you're telling a cohesive story over 9 films and following an episode 8 killing of Snoke. It's kind of awkward to suddenly bring back this new big bad. But he is definitely, just like he is in all the other movies, one of the most fun pieces of the movie. And Ian McDiarmid is just so talented. So I'm kind of sitting on a fence here with whether or not to agree with you, because I just love Ian McDiarmid's performance so much in episode 9, and I think it's so reverent of all the material that came before it. But I absolutely see your point.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean in that, especially when you said like each filmmaker was focusing on their movie, because I think I can't remember if it was Ryan Johnson or someone else talked about how, okay, episode 7 ends with like Rey handing Luke the lightsaber. It's like, well, what do you do with that? Like, you have to
Yeah.
pick it up immediately from that moment, because otherwise it's like, wait, what happened? How are we jumped way forward. What happened here? And so then this does that same thing for the next movie, where it doesn't set it up, but right, that's like what we think it is, because that's the story we've been told for those first 6 movies, but it doesn't have to be that, I think. And so like I could see still Kylo Ren staying the big bad for the last movie, and I would have probably been happy with that. And so like I don't know if we needed to have a bigger bad than him, because the story doesn't have to be his story. And I think Adam Driver said when he first signed on, he like asked like, is he just going to turn good? And they told him no. But then of course things changed. And so like, I don't think he had to be redeemed, and that was what it was about. It could be about, fighting good, and that like you could see someone's descent deeper and deeper into the dark, and that, you keep trying, but no matter what, like there is a moment where, they've made their choice, and we could have seen that. But I see what your kind of train of thought is.
Well, I think if Kylo's not redeemed, then it becomes a much more pessimistic movie, or pessimistic trilogy.
It's an awkward way to end the whole series.
Yeah. Like the last like Blood Skywalker like was like a white little evil guy.
Oh well, just like the first Blood. So
yeah,
fine.
So I that could lead a whole different train of thoughts. We don't have to go down that road.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's interesting. That's my hot take. I'm sticking to it.
I like it. I've never. It's one that I've never heard before. I've never heard someone say it like that, and I was like, okay, like yeah.
I've heard Austin say it many times.
Okay. Now I know what your guys' late night conversations are like.
It's usually about Star Wars. Remember when we went to Dragon Con and Austin and I stayed up late looking at Padme clothes or something? It was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah,
these are the conversations that come up at Oga's Canteen after the second glass of jet juice. You're like, and another thing.
And another thing. Pillow talk.
Well, yeah. We've got one more sequel hot take.
We do have one more.
Yes.
I thought long and hard about what my final hot take was. I'm sure we'll do more hot take episodes, but the final for now. And I thought, the first 2 episodes, I did a romance hot take, and I thought maybe I should talk about how much I love Reylo, but that's not really a hot take. That's a very, very popular take. So that's not going to work out here. So I'm going to stick with Rey here.
Hot take.
It is hot. It is hot, and I'm gonna need a cowl or something because
it's cowl or something.
It's just getting steamy in here. No, so my hot take is about Rey, and it's about her identity and her lineage and who she is, and I ran a roller coaster over the 4 or 5 years that those movies were coming out. When episode 7 was coming out, I was convinced that she was Han and Leia's daughter. Did not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense in the context of the movie at all. But that was what I was like, that's what I want it to be. So that's what it's going to be. I didn't want it to be Luke's daughter. I always envisioned Luke as this, monk. And I know that's different than what Legends did, but that's the way I envisioned him. And then when episode 8 came out and it said that she was Rey Nobody, I was a little disappointed because I wanted there to be this great connection back to the other movies. And it wasn't until much later that I really grew to agree with Rey Nobody. So the hot take I'm going to present to you isn't a take that I always feel, but it's a take that I feel sometimes, is that Rey Palpatine is actually kind of cool. And what I mean by that, the Skywalker Saga is obviously about the Skywalker family. And Ben Solo is our through line of the Skywalker family through episode 9. But at the end of episode 9, it's lost. And this idea that the Skywalker line is just lost is kind of devastating. So I like that Rey became a Skywalker
Mm.
forged through being a Palpatine. I think this idea of being born of something so evil, what you could, at least in the movies, consider the ultimate evil of the Star Wars galaxy, create someone who is going to shine so much light into the future is really beautiful. I think this idea that you can reject the atrocities of your past or your ancestors' past and do everything you can to make the future better and kinder and more equal and bring forth the light a little bit more through the Skywalker line is really cool. And I think that that's really the legacy of the 9 movies, is that even though all the living Skywalkers, or all the Skywalker blood Skywalkers rather, are gone, we still have this emblem of the light through the
Mm.
Skywalker family. And I think that also really goes back to the balance of the force that George talks about, not the way that everyone else says, where it's like equal numbers of light and dark, but where light is the force being balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the whole thing, the Skywalker line it basically balances itself. Kylo is gone, the evil is gone. He does become Ben Solo at the end, but then Rey leads the light forward, as a balanced force. And so I really like that. And I'm not wholly on board with Ray Palpatine. I think Ray Nobody may have ended up working a little bit better, but I think there is something really beautiful about something so good being born of something so evil.
Look at Pike.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I agree with a lot of what you said of like okay, it starts out and she's Ray Mystery, and then becomes Ray Nobody, uh, and then Ray Palpatine, and then Skywalker. Of like she's like choosing her found family, basically, and choosing to live on through this family line that essentially she was adopted into. I would say like that's akin to adoption. And like if you say like she's not real Skywalker, it's like literally kids are adopted and become family members all the time. Like blood doesn't
She is,
dictate
though.
family. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's not what has to be family, or to be part of this group of people. And so like I like how it ends up, but I think I would have preferred for her to stay as Ray Nobody and say like you don't have to be born someone great to do great things. Right? To say like, okay, the significant people in this galaxy for this 100 years are restricted to like these 4 or 5 families, and that's it. I would have preferred for her to have come from nothing, and Finn comes from nothing, and Poe comes from like kind of something, but not really that significant. And they're this next generation to lead the story on, and it's totally new people. That 9 goes back and makes all those connections. It loses me a little bit. And so I would have preferred for the Palpatine to not come in. But how it ends up, I'm okay with.
I am an enormous fan of I know people make fun of it. I don't care. Ray Skywalker. I like that line a lot. And I like the Ray Skywalker. I like that line a lot. Circle. I think that's really cool. I hope we can all, I don't know if you guys agree with me here or not. Ray Kenobi would have been about the worst thing they could have ever done. that would have made me so irrationally angry. It would have made no sense. And I know the idea that Palpatine has children makes no sense either, but it kind of, they made it hammer together. Ray Kenobi would have been like, when did that happen?
For me, so I was on board for Ray Palpatine in episode 7 time. Like that's where I started when all the options were still before us. I guess Ray Solo was kind of off the table by the time episode 7 came out.
I so badly wanted it to be like a Jason and Jaina type of thing, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
But Ray, I feel like the 4 camps were Ray Nobody, Ray Skywalker, Ray Kenobi, Ray Palpatine. Like, I think those are kind of like the 3 or 4 kind of things before us, and I was like not strongly, but I was in the Ray Palpatine camp. Um, and I wasn't paying rent there, but I was like in the neighborhood, like, uh, and I was like, I kind of like the idea of like Kylo being from the good family was choosing to be evil,
Mm.
and like Ray
Mhm.
being from the bad family choosing to be good. Like I kind of like that dichotomy. Um, and then Last Jedi came out, and she was Ray Nobody, and it was like confirmed. And I think like I have my problems with that movie, but that was not one that I had. That came, I
Mhm.
was like that makes sense, and like that's a cool like story arc for her. Like she's spending all this time with all these people from great lineages, and she comes from nothing, and she's like forging her place amongst these people. I think that was like a cool story, and I was very happy with that. And then Rise Skywalker comes out, and it's like, actually, I was lying to you for reasons that I don't really explain why I was lying to you, but you're actually a Palpatine this whole time. And so like that was odd. I think it was handled really poorly. Um, and I don't feel like it. Her being a Ray Nobody would not have really had that much impact on the plot of that movie. Like being Palpatine, I feel really didn't like change much
Mhm.
about how it all played out. Like instead of Palpatine being mean to her about being Palpatine, he could have just been mean to her about being like you're nothing, like you're not part of this. Um,
She
and I
was
think that
already
actually would
You're
have
a
really,
disagreeing in
Jedi,
the
and I
Force.
hate.
He has a reason to
Yeah,
want her dead.
you're a
yeah,
Jedi, and I hate the Jedi, and
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And honestly, I think having Palpatine be like you're nobody and her be like I am somebody, would have been like a nice thing for like to shut up
Mhm.
the Ray haters.
Yeah.
But uh I don't know. I think it was handled so poorly. And I
Mhm.
feel like this was like JJ trying to like thematically wrestle with the prequels, which she
Mhm.
rejected so hard in episode 7. I think like the whole family lineage thing really wasn't that big a deal in the prequels. And I feel like it's
Right.
weird like that's the thing that you're latching onto. But so I don't agree that like I don't like how they did Ray Palpatine. I agree in the sense that I don't think Ray Palpatine is inherently a bad thing. I disagree in the way that it's handled. I
Mm.
agree that Ray Skywalker at the end is good. Like I'm
Okay.
very happy
Mhm.
with how that winds up at the end. Like it's a little
Yeah.
awkward. Like the way it like plays out is a little awkward, but like Star Wars is awkward and it's fine. Um,
Mhm.
so I was fine. Though the end of Rise of Skywalker was not my. That's not where I had
Beef.
beef.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like the idea of like if you take out the like Ray Palpatine, like would have still worked fine for
yeah,
her to like he's like you're nobody and it's like and you're beaten by nobody. Like
yeah,
anyone can beat you. Anyone can beat evil, right? It
yeah.
doesn't matter. And then at the end like she accepts like a new name, found family, this kind of idea. I would have very much I think jived with that more.
It's something that,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of Star Wars movies would be fixed if they had a writer's room instead of like one person that nobody tells no to.
Hmm. Yeah. These are like things that I've never thought about this way before,
Mhm.
and I like that. That's what, especially with this episode and talking about the sequels of like where I've landed of like, huh, I've never thought about like what that would be like, and sometimes I don't always like saying like, oh, it was a missed opportunity or it should have been this way because it just isn't. This is the
It
story and
just
we have to just
isn't
live with the
right.
story. And so like I don't choose what the story is. The story is what I can consume and I'm not going to be able to change that.
Yeah, I
So I
completely
try
agree.
and not say, something's a missed opportunity or it should have gone this way, but I kind of liked this train of thought of
Mhm.
thinking about what would it have been like had it gone this way. Not
Yeah,
saying I want it to be that way, but like how would it
What
have
would
been different? Would it have
I
worked
tend
still?
to agree. I don't like to dive into the what ifs. Like they should have done it like this, and people like trying to correct the movies
Hmm.
all
yeah,
over the place. Like it's just it's not what it is. and no matter how many times you make a fan theory online, it's not what it's going to be. So it's fun to discuss, but at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's a discussion. It's never going to be true. Don't put too much stock into it. We have the movies we have. And I love them. They're fun movies.
Had 9 been more beloved, we probably wouldn't get a 10, 11, 12. And I thought we're probably going to get that announcement next year.
Yeah, and there's like a 90% chance it doesn't happen, but based on their
I think if they
movies.
announce 10, 11, 12, they have to do it. You can't. Like, this is not like the Lando Chronicles or whatever. Like this is a different level of
Chronicles
or Droid Story.
They
or
have got to get their act together and not announce things that aren't going to happen.
Yeah.
I know they've already filmed Starfighter, but I'm still not convinced we're ever going to see the light.
Until we're sitting in the movie theater, it is not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, for premature announcements, we can talk a little bit about where we're headed in our next episodes now that we've finished the hot takes of all 3 trilogies. If you haven't listened to the first 2 episodes we did the original trilogy and then the prequel trilogy. So we've covered all 9 of those movies now. So what is going to be next for us as a podcast?
Hot takes about the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I think we already gave some hot takes where we had some positives to say about that movie, and people don't like to do that. So
that
episode you can go listen to. It's hot takes, basically.
Yeah.
Austin and I are headed out west to go to Disneyland in Galaxy's Edge West. So we're very excited about that. We will be there before the new timeline thing is fully implemented.
Don't get started.
But so we'll get a little bit of original flavor Galaxy's Edge out there. But we're very excited to go see that. Try pink milk. So we'll be reporting back about all the little differences. So we're very excited about that.
Awesome. And there's gonna be a little kind of a short episode, little bonus episode that Austin and I are gonna do on Low Red Moon. We're not doing a full review of that book, but we're both reading it and gonna give kind of just probably a 10 minute, 10-15 minute little breakdown of what we thought. Probably gonna tend towards just the non-spoiler view for the most part. So keep an eye out for that as well. And then that'll put us pretty darn close to getting towards like Mandalorian and Grogu and Star Wars Day and Maul and all of that.
Yeah.
And so we'll be doing episodes on Maul Shadow Lord. So we're gonna finally get back to a Star Wars TV show. Yay!
Yeah.
And punching episodes out every week. Mike, how do you feel about that?
Every week, yeah. It's apparently the plan. So
apparently,
we'll make sure those. We've announced it. So if we're gonna be holding Disney to their feet to the flames of when they announce stuff, we'll have to make sure that we can do what we say we're gonna do too.
Yeah.
And of course they're doing Maul right into May the 4th and Mandalorian and Grogu. Like it's all at the same time. There'll be drought for months.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. So those will be on the horizon for us. But for our hot takes, those are going to be finished for now. Maybe we'll do some more hot takes of TV shows or something in the future. But I'll say for now, that is going to be the Rogue 3 podcast signing off.
Thanks everyone for joining us to talk about the galaxy far, far away. You can find us on Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, and TikTok as Rogue 3 Media. We look forward to talking with you at the next rendezvous point.